Analytical method help us in proving that the studied method is suitable for the intended purpose. And there are several parameters which needs to be assessed as a part of method validation. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about how one can assess the specificity of the analytical method and what kind of analytical methods we are generally validating. It can be dissolution method, assay method, and related substances method. Now let us begin our discussion with the dissolution method. So the dissolution method, for example, by chromatographic technique like HPLC. So how one can perform the specificity? So in case of chromatographic technique, for dissolution specificity, one has to prove the diluent and the placebo interference. So there must not be any interference at the retention time of principal peak from the diluent and the placebo. So this is the point number one. The point number two can be one has to assess the peak purity of the principal peak. So the principal peak must be spectrally pure. The third important step could be in some cases wherein you have a major degradant present in a sample. For example, salicylic acid in aspirin tablet. Now in those cases, one can also understand and evaluate that the major degradants doesn't interfere with the principal peak. So you may have to prove that these two peaks, the impurity peak and the principal peak, they are well separated from each other. So by this way, one can assess the specificity of the dissolution by chromatographic technique like HPLC. Now in case if you are using UV spectroscopy for quantification of dissolution, then how one can proceed for the specificity? So you have to prove that there is no interference coming from the diluent and the placebo at the selected detection wavelength. And in case if there is an interference coming up, you have to evaluate the extent of interference. So generally, the interference must not go beyond 2%. So by this way, one can prove the specificity of dissolution by chromatographic technique and by UV spectroscopy. Now let us understand how one can evaluate the specificity for assay method. For example, by chromatography technique now. So the point number one could be you have to assess the interference from the diluent, placebo and known impurities. So inject the blank, placebo and known impurities into the chromatographic system and then assess whether there is an interference coming up or there is no interference coming. So there must not be any interference from the diluent, placebo and the known impurities. So one can inject the known impurities with the increased runtime. For example, if your proposed method's runtime is 10 minutes, and if it is isochromatic method, you can increase the runtime to let us say 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes and then understand where this known impurity is eluting. Similarly, you have to also assess the peak purity for the principal compound. So the principal compound peak must be spectrally pure. The compound, the principal peaks must not have any another coeluting peak. So assess the peak purity as a part of your specificity study. The fourth important parameter is the forced degradation. So how one can conclude the forced degradation? You can expose placebo, API and finished product under acid hydrolysis, alkali hydrolysis, thermal degradation, oxidation degradation, photolytic degradation, water hydrolysis, humidity hydrolysis, and then assess what are the degradants coming up out of this exposure study. And if there are some degradants coming up, are they well separated from the principal peak? Are they eluting within the stipulated runtime? And if not, what is the required runtime? Suppose if you propose 10 minutes as a method's runtime, But if we found that there are some acid hydrolysis impurities, you're looking at 15 minutes. So probably you can think of increasing the runtime. And this way, the force degradation study will also help you in justifying your proposed runtime. So during force degradation study, you have to evaluate the peak purity. How much is the peak purity of your principal peak, or whether your principal peak is spectrally pure, and how much is the percent degradation. So it is always proposed to have a degradation between 5 to 20% range. But is it really possible for all molecules in all conditions you will be able to achieve this 5 to 20% degradation? It may not be possible sometimes for some molecules. And it is okay if you are not able to achieve this 5 to 20% degradation. And you can always prove and justify that we have degraded this particular molecule from mild condition to the harsher conditions, but we could not able to achieve the desired degradation of, let us say, 5 to 20%, and that is absolutely acceptable. So by this way, one can prove the specificity for assay method. Now third parameter is related substances method. So how one can prove the specificity in case of related substances? You have to prove that there is no interference at the peak of interest from the blank and placebo. Now what are your interested peak in case of related substances? They can be impurity peaks, or they can be your principal peaks. So what is the interference you are getting at impurity retention time and the principal peaks retention time? If there is no interference coming from the placebo and diluent, then great, you have a specific method with respect to diluent and the placebo. The second is the known impurities must not elute at each other's retention time. They must get well separated from each other, and they must not also interfere at the retention time of the principal peak. So as we discussed in case of assay, it is also a good idea to have a increased runtime in case of forced degradation for the related substances, provided you have an isocratic method in hand. And the logic remains same, that you are going to also prove that, if my proposed runtime is 60 minutes, but I will conduct the force degradation with, let us say, 90 minutes or 120 minutes. And if there are no degradants, impurities coming elutes beyond 60 minutes, then that also proves that whatever runtime, that is 60 minutes, that is proposed, it's suitable. So conduct the force degradation study with increased retention time. So the parameters are going to remain same: acid hydrolysis, alkali hydrolysis, oxidation degradation, photolytic degradation, humidity degradation, thermal degradation, or water hydrolysis. Expose this blank, placebo, and sample, and if required, API for the same degradation conditions, and then evaluate the peak purity of the peak of interest. You must have a all peak spectrally pure, and the percent degradation should be between 5 to 20%. Now in case of related substances, as you are also going to evaluate the peak purity for the principal peak, and because of the higher concentration and higher response, if the peak height goes beyond 1 AU, it is always recommended to further dilute your API, further dilute your sample, such that you will get the peak height below 1 AU and then evaluate the peak purity. Because the peak purity may not get evaluated properly with the peak height of more than 1 AU. So keep this point in mind during evaluation of the peak purity. Now another important aspect of force degradation as far as RS is concerned is the mass balance. Now what is meant by mass balance? So for example, you have a drug product with the assay of 100%, and at the end of force degradation study, you observe that there are 10% impurities coming up. Now you ideally should get the 90% assay now of the degraded sample, because the 10% of mass has been already converted into the impurity mass now. So this 10 impurity plus 90 assay will become now 100%. So the summation of the degradation impurities and assay should come to the 100%, and this is called as a mass balance. So how close you are to the 100%? And generally a limit of not less than 95% is acceptable to the mass balance. So how to perform the mass balance? At the part of your related substances method, you will quantify the impurities. But how one can assess the assay of the degraded sample? Now there are two ways to assess the assay of the degraded sample. One is what? Inject the degraded sample into your validated assay method. Or in case if you do not have a validated assay method, then you can inject the lower concentration of your degraded sample into related substances method itself, and then quantify the assay with the help of external standard. You have to also prepare a standard with the same response of the same concentration, because if in case of related substances, most of the times you will have a bigger response. Maybe your peak gets saturated, so that may not be a good concentration for the quantification of the assay. So reduce the concentration to optimum level such that you will have a linear response. Prepare the standard of the same concentration and then calculate the percent assay. So how much is the percent assay you got? Do you get the mass balance up to 100%? If yes, great, you have a suitable method in hand. Now let us understand in what cases you will have the lower mass balance. Is there the possibility to get the lower mass balance? Yes, it is possible. So you can get the lower mass balance in case if your degradation products have the lower response as compared to your principal peak. So if you are getting, let us say, 10% of one impurity, but if that impurity has a half of the response of the API, then though it is actually a 10% mass, but because of half response, you will end up quantifying it as 5% impurities. So straightforward, you will lose 5% of the mass from the mass balance, and you will have a 5% short of the mass, and you will end up getting the lower mass balance. Yes or no? The another reason for the lower mass balance could be elution of impurities not in the stipulated runtime. There are certain impurities which are highly retentive and they are not eluting within your stipulated runtime. And as they are not eluting, you will not be able to quantify them. And as you are not able to quantify them, you will be short of the mass balance again. So this could be the reason for the lower mass balance. Now what is another reason? The another reason could be if your impurity degradation product do not have a response for the selected detector. So for example, if your detector is UV and whatever degradants you are getting, it does not have the UV absorptivity, then you will not get response at all for that particular degradants. And as you are not able to get the response, you will not be able to quantify that impurity during the entire process, and you will lose that particular mass and you will end up getting the lower mass balance. So these are few reasons because of which you can get the mass balance. There is another important reason if your impurity is not soluble into the selected diluent. For example, if you are conducting acid hydrolysis and you are getting a degradant as a part of this acid hydrolysis, but if that impurity immediately precipitates out into the diluent that you have, then as that impurity gets precipitates out, it will never come into a solution. And as it is not into the solution now, it will not get injected during the chromatographic run, and you will miss that impurities during the related substances analysis and end up getting the lower mass balance. So one has to be very clear during evaluation of the mass balance and what could be the possible root cause reasons behind the lower mass balance. Now, is there any possibility of getting the higher mass balance? So yes, you may end up getting the higher mass balance in case if the degradants are having the higher response as compared to the principal peak. So if the response of the degradants are, let us say, twice of the API, and you are getting the 5% of that impurity, but as the response is double as that of API, you will end up calculating 20%, 10% of that impurity, though the mass is actually 5%. But as the response is double, you will say now it is not 5%, but it is 10%. And then you will have the extra 5% in your mass balance calculation, and you may end up getting the higher mass balance, more than 100%. So these are the reasons because of which you may end up getting the higher mass balance. So as far as now the degradation is concerned, the force degradation is concerned, you have to understand the interference from the blank, placebo, known impurities. You have to assess the mass balance, which is should be not less than 95%. You have to assess the peak purity, and you have to also assess the percent degradation. So the percent degradation should be between 5 to 20% wherever possible. So these are the various steps one can take in assessing the specificity for various methods like dissolution, assay, and related substances. So I hope you must have understand now how one can assess the specificity for various analytical requirements. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I will meet you soon with another interesting video. Thank you and bye-bye.